Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. I am not a financial advisor. I do not have a financial background. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. Now, Binance CEO CZ, he had an interview with a crypto media outlet that whose work I cover pretty frequently. It's You Today, and here's the headline: in a couple of years, Bitcoin can be worth $100,000, $1 million, or more. And that is coming directly from Binance CEO CZ. And this was an exclusive interview that You Today scored with the CEO. So I want to run through the specifics of this and also kind of tackle this and share with you some thoughts that I have as an XRP community member regarding what this means ultimately. Let's just say for the fun of it, CZ's right. What would this mean for XRP? So I'm going to be running through that. I've also got this story. This is from CoinGate.com. Ripple's X-Current, which is of course now known as RIPPLENET, saves up to $400 billion a year for Saudi Arabia's monetary authority. Rather massive. So it's certainly thanks to Ripple. But before we go any further here, if you would please delicately tap that like button, and also go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel if you love your mama, because she wants you to be happy. And if you subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel, you will be eternally happy. I'll tell you what, this channel, it's pure bliss. All right, let's go ahead and jump in now. While speaking with You Today in his recent interview, Binance CZ, when asked about his Bitcoin price forecast, made an ultra bullish bet that in the long term, Bitcoin may skyrocket to $100,000 or $1 million or maybe even more. So most of the traders that I've been following, by the way, a ton of them are calling for Bitcoin to exceed $100,000 in the next major parabolic move when that part of the market cycle really gets going here. There are some, this is kind of funny too, some of the ones that I follow that are very popular and seem to know what they're doing and have large followings as a result. Some of them are taking the conservative bet, which is maybe it'll be more like 70,000, maybe it'll be 80. That's conservative, which is so funny because that's massively higher than where we're at right now. I checked the price of Bitcoin a little bit earlier today, and it was hovering around like $9,500 or something like that. So if you're talking about going to $100,000 or $1 million, that is something. Now, also, as far as XRP's price action relative to Bitcoin, the part that's fascinating to me and just kind of fun to think through regarding this is that I know that XRP's price action is tethered to Bitcoin. I also know that it's very common for it to lag behind massive movements of Bitcoin at times. And if you want evidence of what's happened, you don't even have to be a chart expert. Just go to Live Coin Watcher, go to CoinMarketCap, whatever, and look over the last 7 years of chart history. Look when Bitcoin goes up and down, and look when XRP goes up and down. You can see it's certainly following, not down to the second, the minute, the day, the week, the month, the year, year. Maybe over the course of most of 12 months, you'd see a fair amount of correlation, but not even necessarily then. Here's the thing: it's correlated enough that XRP has been able to maintain its market cap position as number 3. Despite this, with the only exception being another story I'm going to cover at the tail end, actually, about Tether, and why XRP is currently number 4 in market cap. So I'm going to be covering that. But outside of Tether's ridiculousness and what they've been doing, which I'm going to highlight for you, XRP would still be number 3. And so again, price action hasn't or the correlation rather, it hasn't deviated enough to knock XRP out of the number 3 spot. So if it's going to maintain that spot, what does this ultimately look like? Well, if you're talking about Bitcoin getting to $1 million, for example, so that would be a 100-fold increase for Bitcoin. And so if you had a 100-fold increase for XRP, that would put XRP, given that it's at about 20 cents today, it would put XRP at about $20. What's further interesting, though, and we know this, is the less liquid a particular cryptocurrency is, the greater the multiplier effect in each successive bull run. Historically, you can certainly see this is true. As market cycles go through their just natural phases. And why is that? Well, you can think about how many dollars would you have to pump in to get Bitcoin to be worth twice in terms of market cap versus XRP to be twice as much in market cap. You'd have to put way more in to get Bitcoin to be at that point. And so that's the reason conceptually why XRP, like if Bitcoin ultimately has 100x return, and whatever the time span ends up being here, look, if Bitcoin's going to have staying power and XRP is also going to have staying power, if it's 100-fold for Bitcoin, and this is just my everyday Joe Schmo opinion, don't buy or sell because of this, I'm just saying that I would certainly suspect that if that were to happen, XRP, even if it lags behind Bitcoin in the price action and the parabolic movement, it would probably be a lot more than 100x. I'm also not of the mindset necessarily that XRP is going to shoot up that high in one single market cycle. I don't believe that Bitcoin would either. I think that's kind of pie in the sky. But even outside of that, would it ultimately hit it? And that's the fun thing to think about, because being in the nascency of this entire asset class, I think that's a huge part of what presents us with such opportunity here. And I think that once the frenzy around this all dies on, once there's much more money into the asset class and it's more liquid, you're not going to see, typically, outside of major, perhaps political events, health events like, there's been a pandemic recently, outside of those types of things, I don't know that you're going to see dramatic shifts in this asset class pretty much ever once the frenzy dies down and once it's adopted on a large scale. But again, that's why it's so fun to be in right now. We have this incredible opportunity here. But anyway, the piece continues. CZ found it hard to assume an even more or less exact year when this may happen. So he's not stamping a timeline on it, but he believes firmly that this is certainly a high possibility. CZ said that he is also very bullish on the industry. However, he does not like making a short-term forecast because there may be lots of price fluctuations and the community may misinterpret his words. And fair enough. The direction is up, CZ stated. He emphasized that he is not giving any financial advice by sharing his opinion with you today, but he is totally confident in the industry in the long run. The head of Binance reckons that from the current price, Bitcoin may go up 100 times or 1,000 times. So assuming the price hits 10,000 is 10,000 now, which is about what it is again. It's about 9,500 when I checked earlier today. In a few years, Bitcoin may print an all-time high of 100,000 or $1 million, or maybe even higher, said CZ. He is confident in the exponential growth, but is not sure when exactly this price surge may happen. And so for me, and it does ultimately come down to utility for me, that's why I'm here. And so I'm just going to be more patient than everybody else. I always say this, and I'm happy to keep reiterating this fact because my mindset has not changed, and I'm happy to be transparent and share my opinions on this. I'm going to hold until humans do what I know they're going to do, because what do humans do? They panic sell, and they FOMO in, and they're not going to stop doing that. You would think, because the data's out there, you could research it, but this is not what humans do. And even if they do, in the moment, can they actually resist the urge of FOMOing or panic selling? And for the masses, the answer seems to be no. But since I know humans behave like that, I'm just going to not act like that. I'm choosing to not participate in that. I'm just going to sit on the sidelines. I'm going to outpatient everybody else, and then when it's worth way more, which I certainly suspect it will be, XRP specifically, then okay, maybe I'll sell a little bit. There you go. I'm never going to sell all of it. I can't imagine me doing that. I have too much fun following it, but we shall see. Take a look at this now. This comes from XRP community member Peter Pumpkin Eater, who tagged me along with a number of others. And he shared this little screen grab. World's money in perspective. All the money in the world, $90.7 trillion. Stock markets, $73 trillion. Gold market cap, $7.6 trillion. Now, I think it's closer to 9. I saw the number, it was around 9 within the last week and a half. And that's because as of late, gold price had been moving up in a notable fashion, so this may have been created just a little bit before that. Obviously with the pandemic, things have been changing here. But nonetheless, even if it were $7.6 trillion, that's massive. And then you've got United States dollars in circulation, $1.67 trillion. And then you've got all of cryptocurrencies collectively only at about $250 billion, at least when this when this screen grab here was created. Now, you might be saying, if there's only $90 trillion in the world, is really all that much going to flow into the flow into the crypto asset class, that much is going to be taken away from all of the money, and then you're going to have a multi-trillion-dollar market cap. No, that's not how it works. That would be a misunderstanding of how this all plays out in the end. Understand that if we have a $250 billion market cap for the entire asset class, nowhere near $250 billion actually flowed into the space. I don't know what the number would be, but it would be a smaller percentage of that. I don't even know if 20 billion or 30 or 40. I don't know. There's been speculation on that by the likes of like J.P. Morgan, but I haven't seen a report on that, frankly, in probably like a year and a half, and I can't remember the specifics. But when they were trying to estimate how much money actually flowed in to get a market cap of $250 billion, I mean, it was like a fraction of what the market cap actually was at the point. And you're like, if you're wondering how the heck that is, well, just understand that when you're holding a particular cryptocurrency, whatever you bought it at, when people get into a frenzy and we enter price discovery situations, people pay more than what you paid if they're buying it, and it gets ramped up and ramped up and ramped up. And understand that as far as market cap, what is market cap? Well, if somebody was willing to pay more than what you paid, the market cap just increased, even if not that much more money actually flowed into the space, because all it is, it's a calculation of the total available supply times whatever the market rate is. That's it. So in order to get to a multi-trillion-dollar market cap, the net inflow of money necessary to make that happen, it's not that much. It would not even, if you're talking about getting to $1 trillion, nowhere near $1 trillion is needed. So no, it's not just going to come out of that. It's new wealth that's essentially created. If this is the metric you want to go by in terms of determining the price, which is fine, okay, if that's what we're going to do, if we're going to use market cap, that's what it is. So don't worry when you hear people talk about, there's all the money. Like, can you imagine that much money flowing in? No, that's not what we're saying. Next, take a look at this. Ripple's X-Current saves up to $400 billion a year for Saudi Arabia's monetary authority. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's Monetary Authority, SAMA, I don't know if they want to say it like that, but it's SAMA, Saudi Arabia's Monetary Authority, has drastically cut down on costs, saving up to $400 billion a year following its decision to upgrade and modernize its payment system. The decision saw SAMA rope in Ripple and incorporated one of its three main solutions, X-Current, now known as RippleNet, of course, as a way of easing transactions between local banks and global counterparts. So it is rather massive. And so you can take a look here. Here's a little screen grab, and this was posted just the other day by somebody named Pseudo Buddha. And they highlighted some parts that apparently they think are interesting, and they are. So I thought I'd go ahead and share with you just the highlight, because I don't feel it's necessary to read this whole thing. But Saudi Arabian Monetary Authority has taken its first steps into the digital currency field in the form of a partnership with Ripple and a host of local banks. SAMA has adopted Ripple's payment protocol without using the underlying currency XRP. Which, again, some people, when you hear something like that, you want to view it as a negative. I do not. This is a positive development. You've got a central bank here utilizing Ripple technology. And most of on-demand liquidity, what it's going to be 5 or 10 years from now, relative to what it should be in the future anyway, what I suspect it will be, only a fraction of it has actually been built out to this point. Not even like a full point, on a 100% scale. It's almost none of it has been built out, and that's not some harsh critique against Ripple. It's just an acknowledgement of you're building something that's truly revolutionary, changing the way money flows around the planet. You're going to be changing people's behaviors on top of that. Then you've got this regulatory issue with the entire asset class. You've got liquidity issues. There's all sorts of stuff going on here, but it's a better solution than utilizing money that's dormant via Nostra Vostra accounts. So ultimately, XRP, I fully envision it would be used if it's a better solution, meaning lower cost for transactions and much speedier. Why would it not? There's no good reason not to, and this is the only solution that humans have devised to solve the train wreck that is the world of cross-border payments, so it should be coming. It also stated, a design choice that presumably makes the system more familiar but inhibits the transformative potential of Ripple's product. But again, as far as it pertains to XRP, there are only so many corridors open anyway, so even if they wanted to use XRP in every corridor in which they're moving money around the planet, you can't. Not yet. Not today. But in the future. SAMA can expect annual savings of up to $400 billion. I'd say that's rather massive. And then it states the central bank has experimented with liquidity management facilities. And Osama and the Central Bank of the UAE chose IBM to collaborate on implementing their RTGS link and bridge currency experiment to enable easier cross-border transactions between Saudi Arabia and the Emirates. All right, next, and I just want to kind of briefly mention this because I've talked about this. With XRP being 4 market cap, it got booted from the number 3 position by Tether. Well, what have I been saying? It's because Tether keeps printing a bunch of coins, and it's always worth the same dollar amount, whereas the price of XRP varies, which makes it an unfair comparison, frankly, but here we are. It also makes it completely freaking ridiculous, because here's the headline. Why Tether has printed 5 billion USDT this year, which... Okay, so they printed 5 billion new Tether coins. Do you think that 5 billion United States dollars flowed in to back that? No, and that's freaking scary. That's very, very scary, in my humble opinion. Tether CTO Paulo Ardono, I don't know, I'm butchering that, says over-the-counter trading desks and crypto exchanges want dollars on hand, and this is driving up demand. And so you're just artificially increasing this stuff. How the hell is this legitimately staying at $1? That's what the hell I want to know. So why did this happen? Well, take a look. Tether and Bitfinex CTO Paulo today revealed why Tether has minted $5 billion in the last 6 months. Printed out over. They want to outdo the federal government, and in terms of a percentage of the crypto market, maybe they are. I haven't run the numbers. Obviously, trillions being printed by the United States government, substantially higher. But it'd be fun to run a comparison, because the crypto market's much smaller. So anyway, they minted $5 billion in the last 6 months, more than at any point in the company's history, after slowly climbing the market cap rankings. Tether has now risen above XRP to reach 3rd place in the crypto rankings with a market cap of $9 billion. So again, with $5 billion being printed, they used to be at 4, now they're at 9, and now they just artificially made all this money here. It's always valued at $1, and that's why XRP got the boot. XRP, there's nothing wrong with it. Bitcoin maxis would have you believe otherwise. Here are the facts for you, though. But what's behind the massive surge in demand? Can you guess? You might be able to guess. Speaking on the On the Brink with Castle Island podcast, Ardono said demand has been driven by exchanges craving cash, especially after the market crashed in mid-March. So there you go. Ding, ding, ding. On the 12th and 13th of March, when there was that huge drop, 50% in Bitcoin and other major currencies, we have seen people being stuck on fiat on-ramp exchanges because they couldn't move fast enough their dollars in order to exploit the market conditions or protect themselves, he explained. He suggested that the inflow of money wasn't coming from outside the cryptocurrency sector, but from exchanges who wanted more Tether. And this, to me, is kind of disgusting. Because what is this actually going to do? So people needed it, okay. I'm sure that those that got to use it are super duper happy, but now you've got a crazy amount of coins that aren't backed by anything, doesn't mean anything, and people are supposed to trust it, and this is somehow going to end well? I'm highly skeptical. It's kind of gross to me. That's just my humble opinion, though. And it's gross to me not just because XRP got booted. That's actually, to me, not even the biggest point. This whole freaking structure here with this centralized coin that isn't actually worth what they're saying it's worth, yet people are pretending that it is. That is scary. People should be shouting off the rooftops how scary this is. That's my own opinion. But that's it for this video. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!